الحمد لله الحمد لله خالق الوجود من العدم وجاعل النور من الظلم ومخرج الصبر من الألم فملك التوبة على الندم فنشكره على المصائب كما نشكره على النعم ونصلي على رسوله الأكرم ذي الشرف الأشم والنور الأتم والكتاب المحكم وكمال النبيين والخاتم سيد ولد آدم الذي بشر به عيسى بن مريم ودعا لبعثته إبراهيم عليه السلام حين كان يرفع قواعد بيت الله المحرم فصلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى أتباعه خير الأمم الذين بارك الله بهم كافة الناس العرب منهم والعجم فالحمد لله الذي نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله تعالى من شرور أنفسنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله وصفيه وخليله بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح للأمة وكشف الله به الغمة وتركنا على المحجة البيضاء ليلها كنهارها لا يزيغ عنها إلا هالك فعليه أفضل الصلوات وأتم التسليم وعلى آله وصحبه ومن استنى بسنته إلى يوم الدين أما بعد فقد قال جل وعلا في كتابه العزيز وفرقانه الحميد بعد أن أقول أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون وقال تعالى يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما اللهم لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. In the beginning of the Nubuwwah of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, when he received his first revelation, we all know how he sallallahu alayhi wasallam was completely traumatized and he was troubled and he was confused sallallahu alayhi wasallam as to what has happened when Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam came with the revelation. And he was in such a situation where we all know that when a man is in fear, they go to their family members and they go to another man. Now, if I was to be in the streets and if I was to get robbed somewhere, one of the first things that I would do is I would call my father, I would call my brother, I would call maybe one of my cousins who was a man from my family. And that's what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was perhaps expected to do, because at that moment when that incident occurred in his life, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his uncle Abu Talib was alive, his other family members from Quraysh were alive. But what did Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam do? He didn't run to any of the man folks, rather he ran home. And this narration is such a beautiful narration that Imam al-Bukhari rahimahullah ta'ala, when he begins his book, Babu Kayfa Kana al-Bad'u Wahyi ila Rasulillahi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he brings this beautiful incident and this interaction that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, after receiving the first revelation, he ran home to Khadija radiyallahu anha. And what was those words that she said at that moment, at that critical moment of his life? You know, it wasn't something that was already written out. It wasn't something prompt that, oh, if one day he comes home and he's troubled or he's traumatized, that I'm going to say these words to him. But these words were so natural. And these words were so real that history has recorded it till the day of judgment. What did she say? كلا والله لا يخزيك الله أبدا إنك لتصل الرحم وتكسب المعدوم وتحمل الكل. That by Allah, Allah will never disown you, O the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because you're a man that helps other people. You're a man that assists other people. كلا والله لا يخزيك الله أبدا إنك لتصل الرحم. You're a man that creates connections between families that have broken their connections. وتكسب المعدوم. The word Adam comes from the word Adam means nothing, nobody. Those people who are nobodies in the streets, you help them, you assist them, you guide them, and you take care of them. And these were the words that Khadija radiallahu anha said. What we learn from this is that a man goes back home, and the place of ease and tranquility is the place of home. What does Allah Azza wa Jal speak when He speaks about marriage? He says, لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً. That a man comes back from a long day of work, and he goes home and he attains that raha and that sakina and that peace. And that's true love. That if a man is troubled or his wife is troubled, the wife is there for the husband, and the husband is vice versa there for the wife. Today that perception of love is completely messed up. You know, you see someone, oh, I saw that person at first sight and I fell in love. And then guess what? They get married after a few months. And maybe 6 months go by or a year goes by and that marriage is dissolved. And you know what? That's not true love. That's infatuation. Because the word for love in Arabic, it's mahabba, which comes from the word habba. And the word habba means a seed. So what do you do with that seed when you have a seed? You plant that seed, and then you water that seed, and you nourish that seed, and you cover that so that the worms and the ants and the birds and the squirrels don't eat it. And so much effort lies behind that one seed. And months go by, maybe an entire summer goes by, an entire season goes by, and then perhaps you may see the fruits of it, whatever that seed that you planted. So that element of effort and that element of sacrifice is missed in those relationships. And that's why we have deprived ourselves of a blissful home, of a happy home. And this is what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had in his home, despite not having wealth, despite not having luxury. What did the Messenger alaihi salatu wasallam say? خَيْرُكُمْ خَيْرُكُمْ لِأَهْلِ وَأَنَا خَيْرُكُمْ لِأَهْلِ. That the best amongst you is the one who is best to his family. Because I, the paragon of Allah's creation, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is best to my family. In the mafhum, in the narration of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he mentions very beautifully that if the entire ummah, if the entire community was to say that you're a good person, but if your wife and your family and your children were to say you're a bad person, know that you're a bad person in the court of Allah. But if your family was to say, your wife, your children, those who you interact with the most, if they were to say that you are a good person, you are a person of good character, and if the entire ummah and the people in the community were to say that you're a bad person, know that you're still good in the court of Allah because you're good to your family. You know, one of the most beautiful narrations that just makes my hair stand of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says by Khadija radiallahu anha, the narration, that the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and remember this is the Meccan phase, this is the Meccan era, the most difficult time for any believer who accepted Islam. There wasn't a single day that Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam wouldn't go out in the morning, and by the time he would come back in the evening, he would be a depressed man. He would see Bilal radiallahu anhu being, tortured in the scorching heat, in that blazing heat. He would see the family of Yasir being tortured, and he couldn't do nothing. There's absolutely nothing that you could do. You don't have no manpower. You don't have any weapons, nothing that you could do. You don't even have money to even save these people and buy them off of the slavery. The only thing he used to do, he used to go and touch their head. Sabran ya al-Yasir, fa inna maw'idakum al-Jannah. That just bear patience because your end abode is nowhere except Jannah. But despite seeing all that trial and tribulation and all that torture every single day and every single morning, every single evening, he wouldn't walk inside the home except with a smile on his face. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. If you don't take anything from this khutbah, and if you're sleeping, if you're daydreaming, brother, At least today, walk inside your house with a smile and give salam. Believe me, that will bring so much ease and happiness. In English there's a beautiful saying that the smile is the only curve that makes things straight. A smile is the only curve that could make things straight. But we walk in the house with all this tension and all this grief and all this turbulence. Why isn't this like this? Why isn't that like this? Why isn't the food ready yet? But Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam wouldn't walk inside his home except with a big smile on his face and giving salam to his wife. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is from the sunnah of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And so much emphasis when you see these books and these chapters of Kitabul Adab and Khuluq, it begins with the family. The beautiful narration which comes in Tirmidhi, where a companion is passing by and he sees Umar radiallahu anhu, who is Amirul Mu'mineen, playing with children. He's playing with children, he's giving time to children. He's like, you're the leader of the believers. Are you doing something like this? And Umar radiallahu anhu responded back in the affirmative saying, yes indeed. Because if you don't have mercy to children, if you don't have mercy to your family, then what type of people are you? The other narration where he saw Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam kissing his grandchildren Hassan and Hussein. And Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam was asked by that companion that أَتُقَبِّلُونَ صِبْيَانَكُمْ يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ, O the Messenger of Allah, you kiss children? I didn't know this. He said, yes indeed. This is from the mercy and this is from the rahmah of Allah, that we show rahmah to our children, we show rahmah to our family. And he said, إِنَّ لِي عَشْرَةً مِنَ الْوُلْدِ, I have 10 children. I never kissed any one of them. What does Rasulullah say? أَوَ أَمْلِكُ لَكَ, like, what has happened to you? That Allah has seized the element of kindness from your heart, that you do not show mercy to your own children? That you don't show kindness to your own children? That narration of which comes in the Israelite, there was a lady once that used to fast and she used to pray. Tasum wa tusalli, she used to fast, and very regularly she used to fast. The optional fast she used to also do on Monday and Thursday, and Sawm Dawood every other day. And Ayyamul Bid, the 13, 14, 15, she used to fast. And she used to be a regular prayer. A regular person who used to perform her prayers. And when she passed away, they said that she was thrown into Jahannam. And the reason why she was thrown into Jahannam was tu'thi jaraha, she used to give a hard time to her neighbors. So think about this for a moment. If she was thrown into Jahannam because she used to give a hard time to her neighbors, think about what will happen to a person on the Day of Judgment who gives a hard time to his own family, who gives a hard time to his own children, who is harsh towards his wife, who is rude towards his own family members, to his mothers, to his parents. What will be the condition of that person on the Day of Judgment if you learn from this narration that this person was thrown into Jahannam, who was a regular person who used to pray and used to fast? But she was thrown into Jahannam because, what did she do? She used to give a hard time to her neighbors. What will happen to that person who gives a hard time to their own family members, to their own blood relatives? And this is one of the things that we lack. We always talk about rescuing the ummah, changing the community, the Muslim community, this and that. What is a community? A community is just a bunch of families. And what is a community and how do you build the ummah? Is you build family. If you're not able to rectify your own house, if you're not able to build mahabbah and love and affection in your own house, forget about building a community and forget about building an ummah. Show mercy, be people of mercy. Irhamu man fil ard, yarhamukum man fis sama. The scholars say, al-jaza min jinsil amal. That when you show mercy to other people, and the most deserving of mercy and love is your family, and your parents and your loved ones, then know that the one who is in the heavens will show mercy to you. Know that the one who's in the heavens, Allah Azza wa Jal himself, will shower his mercy upon you because you shower your mercy upon your own family. One of the most beautiful narration, we all know this from the Israelite, of the lady who was very loose with her hands. And the narration mentions that she used to like being touched and she used to like others. In essence, she was a prostitute. And what did she do at that one moment? And there's different narration, different wording to the narration. And many of us perhaps heard this narration. Once she saw a dog that was thirsty. And she took her shoes and she went down that well and she brought some water up and she grabbed the shoes with her teeth and she climbed back up. And she provided some water for that dog. You know, in any language, if you want to curse someone, if you want to say something offensive, in Urdu and Bangla you say kutta. If you were to, say in Arabic, you say kalb. And if you were to say it in English, you say you're a dog. And she showed mercy to a dog, an animal. And because of that, Allah forgave her. Because this person showed mercy to a dog, Allah forgave that person. Think about if a person was to show mercy, and this is the hukum of Allah and His Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam. If a person was to show mercy to their parents, what would Allah grant them on the Day of Judgment? So be people of mercy. Be people who show compassion to their family. I remember so many people that I've met in my life that they would tell me that, my father is like, whenever our father used to just park up with their car, we will all just run to our rooms and we'll act like, we can't live normally. Because our father was like a Fir'aun. We used to be intimidated by our father. Why is it that you're scared of family members? Why is it that you're not scared of strangers, but you're scared of family members? And all of us lack it. We're so much more nicer to other people than we are to our family members. We smile towards strangers, we hold doors for strangers. But we don't do that for our own family. So be people of mercy. When you show mercy, Allah will show mercy to you. Be people who assist others and your own family members. And we have the stereotypes where, certain things I'm going to do, certain things no. Just show extra mercy. Because if there's something that this ummah is in need of, it's mercy. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says what? I was the best to my family. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would do khidmat to his family. He showed the most love to his family. Even post the demise of Khadija radiallahu anha, the amount of praise that he used to sing of Khadija was just phenomenal. That compassion, love that he had for Khadija radiallahu anha. That even Sayyidina Aisha radiallahu anha used to say that I don't understand this. That why is he constantly singing the praise? Even sometimes when her sister used to come and drop off some meat or some dish, he would say that, that knocking on the door just reminds me of Khadija. The way she knocked on the door just reminds me of Khadija. The way she walked just reminds me of Khadija. Look at how much love Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had, and how much dua he used to make for Khadija radiallahu anha. I pray that Allah Azza wa Jal gives us the ability to revive that bliss and that love and that blessing of Allah, and to show mercy to our family. May Allah Azza wa Jal revive our homes with rahmah and mercy and love and affection. Wa sallallahu wa barika ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. ألا إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفر ونعوذ بالله تعالى من شرور أنفسنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له. ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له. ونشهد أن سيدنا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد عبدك ورسولك وصل على المؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات وبارك على محمد وأزواجه وذريته. قال النبي صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم أرحم أمتي بأمتي أبو بكر وأشدهم في أمر الله عمر وأصدقهم حياء عثمان وأقضاهم علي وفاطمة سيدة نساء أهل الجنة رضي الله تعالى عنها وعنهم. اللهم انصر المسلمين في كل مكان اللهم انصر المسلمين في كل مكان. اللهم انصر من نصر دين محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم واجعلنا منهم. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا لا تجعلنا فتنة للقوم الظالمين ونجنا برحمتك من القوم الكافرين. اللهم استعملنا وتقبلنا لخدمة دينك. اللهم طهر قلوبنا من النفاق وأعمالنا من الرياء وألسنتنا من الكذب. اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه. اللهم اهدنا واهد بنا واجعلنا سببا لمن اهتدى. اللهم اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم من النبيين والصديقين والشهداء والصالحين. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا. ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا. ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به. واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا. أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. اللهم إنا نسألك حبك وحب من يحبك والعمل الذي يبلغنا حبك. اللهم إنا نسألك العفو والعافية والمعافاة في الدين والدنيا والآخرة. توفنا مسلما وألحقنا بالصالحين. اللهم إنا نسألك التقوى والعفاف والغنى. اللهم إنا نسألك الهدى والتقى والعفاف والغنى. يا حي يا قيوم برحمتك نستغيث. أصلح لنا شأننا كله ولا تكلنا إلى أنفسنا طرفة عين. اللهم تقبل رجالنا وأطفالنا ونساءنا كما تقبلت من عبادك الصالحين. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. أقم الصلاة إن الصلاة كانت على المؤمنين كتابا موقوتا.